Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tyler here, and we're doing orb trick video number 4. We're talking about rows today. Now, first let's talk about what are rows and why do we use them, and let's talk about the math behind it. So, I have my Haku right here, and the reason why people use rows is because of the row enhance awakening. We have 2 on Haku here, so the enhanced dark attribute matching a full row of dark orbs increases dark attributes attack, but this doesn't tell us much, so that's why I go to my puzzledragonx.com. So I've loaded up Haku here, and over here we have awoken skills. When you click on that enhanced dark attribute icon, you have all the little monsters that use this as their awakening, or that have this as their awakening, and the effect: eliminating 1 row of dark orbs will increase your dark damage by 10%. Let's talk about the math behind this, and let me show you first what it looks like on the board. A row enhance is 6 orbs that go straight across the board. Now it has to be, they cannot be connected either, so this will count as just 1 row enhance. However, if you move that row here, it'll be multiplied twice. So let's talk about this damage versus, let's say we have 6 purple orbs and we want to determine the damage, or to compare the damage of a full row with row enhances versus just regular 2 matches of 3. Let me load up my calculator real quick and we can talk about this. Now that we have our calculator loaded, let's do some math. When we switch back to our game and you load up your lineup, for this team on the bottom right hand corner we have 8,452 damage per set of 3 orbs, 3 dark orbs. Let's say for this example that this number, 8,452, is 100, so it's easier for us to calculate. So matching a set of 3 dark orbs will do 100 damage. So let's switch to our calculator. We're comparing the damage of 2 sets of 3 versus a whole row of 6. For the 2 matches of 3, we'll do 100 damage for the first match, plus 100 damage for that second match. And for any combo more than 1, we actually add 25% more damage per combo. So we added only 1 combo for this extra set. So let me clear this. 200 times 1.25. So for 2 sets of 3, we'll do 250 damage. For a whole row enhance, the calculation is a little bit different. We'll do 100 damage for that match, plus 25% per dark orb. So we have a set of 3, that's 100 damage, and then we have 3 more dark orbs attached to it, and that's 25% per orb, so that's 175%. So let's multiply it by 175%, or 75%, 1.75, and the damage doesn't multiply any further because there's no combo, it's just one match. So the damage is 175. So for this we have 250 minus 175. We're missing out on 75 damage if we don't have any row enhances. So how many row enhances does it take to do as much damage as that 2 matches of 3? Let's calculate that. As we saw earlier, the row enhance awakening increases damage by 10% per awakening. So let's say we have 175 damage for that row of 6, and we multiply that by 1.1. That's 1 awakening. Not enough damage, 192.5. That doesn't equate to 250. Let's increase this a little more. I believe that people have calculated that if you have 5 row enhances, so that's 1.5, So 1 awakening will give you 1.1, 10% more damage. 2 awakenings will give you 20% more damage, that's 1.2. 1.5 is 5 awakenings. 262.5. 175. Let's say if we have 4 row enhances, 1.4. 245. That's a little under our damage. We have 250 for 2 sets of 3. And for a row enhance with 4 awakenings is 245. A row enhance with 5 awakenings is above 250. So our threshold to making row enhances or matching rows worth it is 5 row enhances. Now that we've established that it takes 5 row enhances before making rows is worth it, keep in mind that if you create more rows, make sure that they're separated. If you create more rows, then this awakening will multiply even further, resulting in a lot of damage. So enough math, let's talk about how to make rows. So I've loaded my example team. We have Tsukuyomi as leader and sub, and this gives us extra time to match orbs. And in the middle we have, this is my own Sonia, followed by the tri-fruits. So we have the blue dragon fruit, the green dragon fruit, and the red dragon fruit. Each one of these dragon fruits skills up a Sonia. This will skill up the blue Sonia. And this changes all orbs to water and dark, so it gives us 2 colors. Let's go ahead and enter. And while I'm stalling, let's talk about row enhances and how to approach each one of them. We have to wait 18 turns before the skill is active, so it's going to take some time. Now that I have all the skills active, let's talk about how to approach the board. Creating a row enhance is tricky because you want to match a whole row without getting stuck on one side of the board. You want to continue working from one direction to another. So that's step 1 to approaching the board, is working from one direction to another. Step 2 is to figure out your row in groups of 6. So it takes 6 orbs to make a row. You'll have to count that when you approach a board, and we'll work on this more. And then step 3, the third step and final step, is to pick the right orb. It's actually important to pick the right orb in manipulating your whole board because you don't have very much time. And if you pick the wrong one, then you're going to have to do a lot more manipulation to create the optimal board damage for your board. When let's say we have orbs set up like this, we have 6 orbs. What you want to do is make sure you have an orb in the direction that you want to be going. So we want to create an orb like this, or we want to create a row with this. And if you're manipulating an orb, let's say you're manipulating this red orb, you want to put all 5 orbs in this row before you move up and out of it. Let me load up an example on our simulator and we can work on this together. So I've loaded our simulator, and thanks to Dawn Glare, the pad simulator, I hope you don't mind me using it. But let me tell you, let me try to illustrate what I am talking about. So we want to move from the bottom to top. So we need an exit orb, and so we're going to keep this orb actually at the top. We can do a hook here and exit up the top. But let's reset here. You can also, come from a different direction as long as you have a place to exit from. Let's say instead of having that red orb here, let's put the red orb up here, and I'll put this example in the about section. Let's put the red orb over here, and we want to move downwards now. That means our exit orb is going to be this one. we're going to have to want to fill up the whole row with 5 and then exit. And that will be how you create rows. That's how you approach rows. Sonia is really easy to use row enhances because there's only 2 colors. You could really focus on one color if you wanted. So we can come through here and come down. There's so many ways to approach this. Let's say you were manipulating orbs and you accidentally get stuck. There's actually a way you can get out of this. What you do is you create your own exit orb. Boom, that's my exit orb. Then I fill up the row with 5 and I come out. Let's reset that again. You break up your orb, you break up your row, and then you put the row back and exit. Reset. Come out like this. It's kind of like an S. You can also come from the other direction. As long as you create an exit orb, you can move from the bottom to top with just a few simple moves. For good practice, let's mirror that. If we get stuck on this side of the board and we want to move down towards this area, you create your exit orb, you put your orb back into place, and you go through that exit. Let's reset again. Let me go slower. I break the row, I create an exit orb. That purple orb that I just passed through is my exit orb. And I put all the orbs back into place and I come out. You can also come from the other direction here. You break through it, you create your exit orb, and you put the orb back in place and go through the exit. You don't necessarily have to create your exit orb right next to where you've broken through. You can actually put it here if you wanted. Put that orb back into place and come through. I can exit here, create an exit orb here, put this orb back into place, and then go through my exit. So it can get kind of confusing, but what you do is just create an exit orb and you go through it after you've put the 5 orbs back into place. So the 5 orbs are in that row, and then I go through the exit. Let's do some real examples. So I've activated my Sonia, and the first step is to determine which direction you'd like to go. Whether you want to go bottom to top or top to bottom. Here, it looks like I'm going to go from bottom to top. Next, you have to determine you have to look at the sets of orbs. I'm looking at these set of 6, and then I have 4 here, so I can only make 1 row. And finally you have to pick your orb. I'm going to pick this purple one. I'm not quite sure which is more efficient, if you pick the orb that you have the least of or the most of. I think it's more beneficial to actually pick the one that you have the least of, but let me know what you guys pick. I'm going to pick this one at the bottom, and I'm going to work from bottom to top. That means I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orbs, and I'm going to put it over here at this bottom row. Let's put 5 here at the bottom row. Go through our exit, and then complete our pattern. That's the best we can do for that number of orbs. The number of red orbs to black orbs. Let's try a different example. Example number 2. First step, determine which direction you'd like to go. I'm going from bottom to top. And the next step is to look at the number of orbs you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For one row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For another row. Perfect. We can actually make the optimal board for damage. We can go purple, blue, purple, blue, purple. If you have 12 of a color, you can put the 2 rows in the middle and you can separate all those purple orbs. I'm going to choose this orb to manipulate, and this will be my exit orb for this row. Then I'm going to put all the blue orbs here using hooks. Let's go. So I'm going to put 5 orbs in this row. Do a hook here, do a hook here. Put this orb in the second row. And finally put that orb into place. We've optimized the damage. Pretty cool. That was a fun example. I'm glad we had one of those. Next we have example number 3 for our real example. Looks like our purples we have the least of. I'd like to work from bottom to top if I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 again. So let's go green, purple, green, purple, green. I'm going to put the greens at the bottom row, followed by purples. And I'm going to focus, I'm looking at this green, and this green to put down here. So the 6 greens. Also put them into place. We can put 5 orbs in the second row and finally put this into place. This isn't the most optimal path to take. You can take any path you want as long as you have an exit. So give it a try. You can go from many different directions as long as you have a place to move one direction to the other. So from, in my case, bottom to top. Finally, we have our last real example. Let's see. We can put purples at the bottom because they look like the easiest to do. Followed by red, purple, red. I'm just going to work from bottom to top here. I'm thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to put in this bottom row. I'm going to, let's grab this one. So I'm going to put 5 here. Exit. Do a couple of hooks and put the orb in the corner. We have 4 row enhances on that one. Going through endless corridors with a Yomi and a bunch of tri-foods can be very helpful, but if you don't have Yomi and you have Sonia and a lot of Sonia friends, there's actually a way you can practice very easily, very quickly. If you have a Sonia and a bunch of Sonia friends, there's actually a way you can practice. First, you have to switch your leader to Sonia. Next, you move to a low-cost dungeon. I'm going to go to the technical dungeons, and this is actually a fast way to farm for plus eggs when it's at 5 times technical dungeon rate on a Monday. So if it's Monday and you have an event where it's 5 times the plus egg drop in technical dungeons, you go to Forbidden Tower and Door of Light and Shadow. From here you go down to Team Challenge, sort by attack, because all the 297 Sonias are likely to be max skilled, so thank you my friends for friending me. And when you have all these Sonias on your team, each of them have 2 skill boosts, and they're max skilled, so it only takes about 3 turns before all your Sonia friends are ready. Mine is not max skilled, so I'll have to work on max skilling her. Then we will stall for her active to come up, and then we can practice together. Couple turns here. Let's clear this one. Okay, we have 4 Sonia skills active. Let's use one. And let's go through the steps. First one is to decide which direction we would like to go. For this one, I'm going to go from bottom to top. Next, we'll decide the groups of 6 we'd like to work with. I'm going to put 3, 4, 5, 6 at the bottom, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the middle. I'm going to use one of these 3 as my exits. And let's manipulate, because these are in such a nice spot, I'm going to pick red. Forgot that I have less time, let me go a little bit faster here. Exit, and we've created 4 rows. So that's Sonia Example 1, and let's move to Sonia Example 2. First, I'd like to decide which direction I'd like to move. Bottom to top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is what I'd like to work with. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, 4, 5, 6. We have 7. Let's manipulate one of these orbs here in this T. I'm going to do this one. You realize that we didn't have a lot of time to manipulate our orbs. We could have done more damage if we moved that red orb up, but sometimes you don't have enough time and it's best to just make the row that's given to you. One more example and we'll wrap it up. I'm going to move from bottom to top. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orbs at the bottom. So I'm going to grab this one and put a bunch of reds in the middle, or in this second to last row. I also need an exit orb. Because we have 6 here, it's going to create a full row without an exit. All our exits are actually down here. So that means I'm going to put this orb up here. Put 5 orbs here and exit through there. Exit. That's a pretty good example because we have too many orbs in one spot. That means we have to create our own exit. And we put our 5 orbs in that row and leave. Performing row enhances takes a lot of practice. I hope this video has given you more knowledge on how to perform rows, and I hope the examples help a lot. But if you have any questions or comments, please let me know and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you'd like to subscribe, please click on Tsukuyomi. And until next time, have fun, guys. This is Starlight Sanctuary. Let's do this. Have fun, guys.